we have a really good guest this afternoon.
Oh, yes, we do have
This morning,
a definite food guest for us today to talk about. So, oopsie. Just kick that away.
Jessica Bernard from Tasted Tours. So I guess I should
Hello.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, guys.
I should probably do a full disclosure. I work part-time as a tour guide with Jessica, and I take care of the Old Town area for her, and she keeps me pretty busy. So, and it also keeps me out here finding out what's going on. So thank you.
Yeah, you're
the
still here.
opportunity.
So.
Okay, so she owns Tasted Tours, and you want to tell us?
Well, let her introduce herself first, and then we'll get to asking her some questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
First question is, did you guys share a plate at the your sliders? Did y'all?
Yes, we
together?
did. It came with 2 chicken and 2 steak, and we did share. Each one had one of each.
Right.
So cute.
Right. So it was only their third night open, though. So
Second night. They did a soft opening with family and friends, but that was their second night. So
we're going to go back again
in about a month and see how things are going. They went really well
with our wives next time.
Nice.
Yeah, because it was all ladies. There was a couple dates going on, but it was all ladies.
Yeah, the pink thing is in. They're even doing here in Scottsdale, the Airbnbs now. They got like a theme of pink in the Airbnbs, like having them more pink-like. So it is a popular trend going on here.
Right.
Well, we have a lot of bachelorette parties and a lot of wedding things that go on in Scottsdale, especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
The ladies love the weather, the outdoor weddings. So a lot of parties going on.
Okay. Well, a little bit about me is I'm a second-generation Arizonian, born and raised here up in North Scottsdale is where I grew up, and kind of have that entrepreneur spirit. Owned a couple different businesses. Like my dad here in Arizona, he owned a music store. He's owned different businesses as well. He helped run the first roller skating rink here in Arizona. And so it's kind of like runs in our blood. Instead of a casino or gambling addiction, we have own a business addiction. So anytime we make money, we just want to buy another business and then take that money and either lose it or do another one. So
I'm with you. I like to try and find little side hustles that keep me going and keep me busy.
Yeah. So, and then now he's at up in North Scottsdale, Handlebar J's. He does the bluegrass. They're on the patio called Joshua Stone. So,
okay.
Kind of where anytime I needed to get a hold of him growing up, I just called Handlebar J's, and that was when they had phones at the bar.
Right.
And I needed to get a hold of my dad, but. Anyway, so I grew up here and up in North Scottsdale, and all I knew Old Town Scottsdale for was the nightclubs and bars. So I couldn't wait to become close to 21 or, fake ID or whatever to get into some of these bars and nightclubs, but didn't realize all the existing surrounding until later in life. So, but yeah, so kind of grew up here in the Old Town area as well, in the nightclub district.
Okay.
But, so that's a little bit about me. I now live in Ahwatukee and started Tasted Tours about 14 years ago.
Okay.
And went on a food tour in San Diego and fell in love with it. And my husband and I, we looked at each other and we're like, man, we could do this in Arizona. And I'm like, yeah, we could. I'm like, but we could do it better because at that time there was no alcohol on the food tour. And we need more drink. We need some drinks on this tour.
Of course.
We need some humor.
Have drinks, right?
Bring this thing to life.
Yeah,
right?
We need some liveliness. We can make this happen. So that's kind of our inspiration, was being there in San Diego and doing this and going, you know what, there is something here. And so we launched 14 years ago, and we started with downtown Phoenix because we felt like there's so much history down there. And the buildings are so old, and we had contacts. Our neighbor ran one of the restaurants in downtown Phoenix, and said, he believed in what we were doing. And we kind of launched that way. And I was intimidated to come into Scottsdale because I'm like, gosh, there's not much, I don't know if there's as much history, what are we going to talk about? And with my perception of growing up here, I always knew it for the bars and nightclubs. And so I really had to dig in and see what, Old Town had to offer.
Right.
And once I did, I realized oh my gosh, there is a lot of history down here, and there's a lot of great things that we could showcase.
Right.
When you get to that Old Town area, that's actually the old stores and the original main street of Scottsdale and Scottsdale Road area. Right there. That's when you learn the history of Scottsdale. You're like, wow, this actually does have a lot of history right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was one of the things. But when we were doing golf carts, I think probably you did too. Depending on who they were saying Old Town.
Yeah.
They were either going. They only knew it for the drinks, or they knew it for Fifth Avenue, or they knew it for
their favorite
Rusty
restaurant.
That was kind of the three sections that they tried to. Then you had to bring people.
I still get people from like Europe and those countries, and I'm like, this is an old building, and they're like, huh.
Yeah,
right. What, your building's like 100 years old, lady? Come on, old buildings. We know old buildings.
Right.
Yeah, even in downtown Phoenix, because most of those buildings are 1929, and they're like, are you kidding me?
Right. They're barely 100 years old. We got castles that are 1,000 years old. This is not old.
So
yes, and you know what really interested me was the Valley Ho Hotel, because that was like kind of how Old Town, and in my opinion, a lot of it got started because it was related to the Westward Ho in downtown Phoenix. And that happened to be the largest party place in the Southwest and had the largest speakeasy in the basement.
Oh, okay.
So
the Valley Ho or Westward Ho?
Westward Ho.
Yeah.
And people would come from all over. John F. K. made like 3 presidential speeches. There's still a bowling alley underneath Central Road from where they would party at. And they decided by the 1950s, like, let's build a resort out, big old resort, 11 acres out in the middle of nowhere. Where that farmland is. What's that place called? Orangedale, Scottsdale? I think it's Scottsdale. And that's when they decided to build the Valley Ho. And no one in the beginning would come out to be there because they're like, we're not going to go out in that farm area. We went downtown. So reading and learning the history on Valley Ho was so interesting. And that's kind of like what really got me going as far as getting into Old Town and digging deep into the history and stuff.
Okay.
I moved here when it was closed for a while before they did the remodel on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when they went, and they had the big thing with the city council trying to get, how can we get the addition to the hotel, the more floors of the hotel. And the whole deal was you can't disturb the hotel. So, yeah, you can't disturb any of this existing history, but you can add to it. So it took a while. And then also at the time, you weren't allowed to build over 2 stories. So that was a big deal. They were trying to get permission to actually build the new building on top to get the extra, 3 floors now?
Yeah, so it's like 7 floors.
Like 7, and then they sold it. So you have people that are staying there at the hotel on vacation, and then you have people actually living in the tall towers.
Right.
Which is interesting. So you'll see a dog run across the lobby, and you're like, wait a minute.
Runs up to the valet. Hey,
it's an interesting place. And right across the way at the Standard, the apartments, they have...
They're part of it, yeah.
You can get, if you live at the Standard, you can use all the hotel amenities.
I have a lot of people ask when I'm out and about, what is a food tour, when I'm talking about it. So for you, what do you like?
We get asked
I don't
that.
give my answer. Yeah, so I want to give your answer first, and then I'll tell you my
kind of my question.
Okay.
What is it?
So I have people ask that all the time. And I first say, I first warn them, like, okay, first of all, if you've not been on one, they're addicting. So once you go on one, you're probably going to want to go on many more in your lifetime. So I'm warning you now that we're not liable anymore after this one. But it's just a great way to see a city is through the food. So this is a walking food tour. When we first started down here, we actually utilized the trolley. So we had a trolley food tour as well. But we pick out, 6 different stops. And we have you guys try a variety of food. We go into different restaurants where we handpick. We look for the restaurants that the locals love to eat at. We sit down with the owners and chefs and hear their stories. And we're like, we would love to be able to bring other people in here and experience what we're experiencing. We pick some of the best items on their menu, which our guests get to do, but we do them in a smaller portion so we can fit so much food in them by the end, we got to get them to the end to eat. So we have to make them smaller portions, but usually they're very stuffed. We promise, we do include a food coma once in a while on those tours. That's at no charge. But it's just a great way to see as we're walking, you're going into these different restaurants. These restaurants are prepared usually for us when we come in. They try a variety of different kind of foods. We try to make sure on our food tours that you get, of course, Arizona is known for Mexican food. So we always try to include at least one Mexican food restaurant. As we're walking down in the area, we talk about the landscaping and all the things that are available for people to do that aren't necessarily on our food tour, but they come back to Scottsdale or they have more time to burn that they can check out.
Okay. And
these tours last about 3 hours. So we'll start at one spot. The public can sign in on our website, and we run these almost every single day. And they're usually, either starting at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. We try to go into these restaurants in between their lunch hours. We try to get in and out. We spend about 20 minutes in each place. And we always tell people, sit back. We want you to enjoy yourself. You pay that one price when you buy your ticket, and all your food and drinks is included. And the only thing we ask is if your tour guide does a great job, obviously, they always appreciate a tip. And that's what we do.
So I know like each area, I don't know about Phoenix, but in Scottsdale, you have a couple different tours, right?
Yes. So we have one that goes right down Main Street where we talk about the old town, and we talk about the farmland that surrounded it, all the things that are down there. And then we hit restaurants along that Main Street. When we used to have the trolley, which the Scottsdale trolley would run all throughout Old Town. Was that 5 years ago? Right before COVID is when they shut it down.
Yeah.
Right.
It was so nice. And so we could hit 2 different parts of Scottsdale. So I always explain to people, our Old Town Scottsdale is actually like 4 parts. And the 4 parts is you've got the Art District, which is on one side of Scottsdale Road on Main Street. Then you cross over Scottsdale Road, and on the east side, then you've got the Old Town, the Wild West, the most western town. And then you go over Indian School north, and then on that east side would be your entertainment district. And then on your west side would be your Fifth Avenue shop district. So we could hit all 4 districts in one tour. So now, because we're walking, we don't want to, discourage anyone because of all.
It is a long.
We don't want a 5-mile walk.
It's a big way to hit all 4 districts. Our map is actually broken up the same way.
Yeah. So we try to we hit 2 districts, and usually our goal is for the Old Town Scottsdale tour, you'll get the Art District and you'll get the Old Town Scottsdale district. And then we have a waterfront tour where you get more of the newer Scottsdale, I would say, and you get the Fifth Avenue shop district. And right along that a canal and waterfront area, which is really gorgeous. And so a lot of people get the option. We get people that go on our tour and like, what else you got? We want more.
Right.
We're hooked. What do you got? What do you got? And so at least we can offer them another option that has different restaurants and a different experience.
Actually, one of my tours, I think about 2 weeks ago, had me call Tara from the last stop to see if there was an availability for the next tour the next day, but there was only 1 space available. You've been pretty busy. You've been keeping us busy. So
it's been really busy. So we, I have to say, I have a great partner. She's my director of operations. Her name's Tara, and she's amazing in the background. We have to remind ourselves sometimes we're only 2 people doing this because we bring through so many people. We have our public tours, and then, as you mentioned, bachelorettes are here that's popular. We do private tours, whether it's a bachelorette birthday party, all kind of anniversaries, corporate. We do so many corporate team building. So we funnel all those people through too.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep.
So what's the price of a tour?
So our prices range between $85 and $95 a person.
Nice.
And that includes your food and drinks. Our waterfront tour has more of the cocktail featured items. So if you are into trying different drinks, if you like wine and you like gin and vodka and different things, then I would definitely recommend the waterfront. Old Town Scottsdale includes a margarita. That's one of my things is if we go to a Mexican food restaurant, we can't just not give a margarita. I have to. It's like in me, I'm like, I can't let them walk out of here. And if you're not drinking tequila, that's okay. We'll give you a virgin margarita, but we want you to
got to taste that margarita flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the Mexican stop, is that Cienega Agave?
In Old Town, yes,
that's one of my favorite places to stop and get tacos.
Right.
I'm working my way through all the different tacos right now. I'm kind of hooked on the shrimp, not the spicy one, the other one. So yeah,
I'm trying to figure out if we could do the 100 shots in a year.
In a year?
Yep. So it'd be 2 a
What
week.
about like 20 on this podcast? It'll get really interesting.
As long as I'm not doing all 20.
I did something on Instagram. I whatever that is when you talk to them on Instagram. And I asked how to do it, and they said that you have to do 100 you have to do all 100 shots in a year, and you get your picture on the wall. And right now, I think the thing that's discouraging me the most is the picture. I don't know that I want to be.
The dude on the wall that dropped 100 shots in a year. Well, that's not bad. There's 365 days in the year, so it's not like you were wasted every night.
Right. So
I did 100 shots in 20 days.
Anyway, so let me ask you. I know one of the things you do. I haven't had a chance to try it because I think I'm one of your newest employees. But do you allow us to go? Like if I was to go on a vacation and wanted to do a food tour, you said you would cover it just so we'd have the experience.
Yes.
Have you done that for yourself? I know you said the first one.
Absolutely.
Okay. What was your favorite?
So I'm an addict, a food tour addict.
How many different food tours have you been on?
I want to say about at least 10. And I drag my whole family, which I have like 5 daughters. And so they're become really big foodies as well. But yeah, it's a great, that's one of the perks for working with Taste It Tours. I think I appreciate my tour guides. They're all fantastic. They all have great personalities and they do a great job. And that's a big part, as I mentioned, the restaurants and the food. The other big part to going on a food tour is your guide. Your guide having really good energy and having insight and just having fun with you.
Well, yeah, because you're walking. It takes a minute, so they better be able to entertain you in between those stops.
Do a little dance, sing. I'm sure James does that on all his tours. But that's after the margarita.
I grew up with some Italians. I got some moves.
But yes, I totally lost. What was the question again? I'm like, I can go on another tangent in a minute.
I was asking you about how many different tours you'd taken and where.
Oh, and what was your favorite?
Okay, so I do have one that really stood out to us that was our absolute favorite, and that was in Tijuana, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And we go to San Diego for a week every summer. And so I started looking at food tours in San Diego, and I had done quite a few of them. We did Carlsbad and all that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to try. I saw highly rated Tijuana, and I'm like, wow, how did they do that? Because, you got to go through the border. Does your tour guide meet you on on the U.S. side? And then you have to bring your passports. I'm like, how does even just managing groups of people and taking them across the border and then going into all these restaurants?
Was it easy?
So it wasn't bad. It's called the Street Fair Food Tour. And the only reason we did it because of the reviews. The reviews were amazing, like 5-star. And everyone talked to the owner, actually ran all his own tours. And so we drove there to the border. We locked our car up, just finding a spot. And we had all of our stuff that, we were going to stay for a week in our car. So we were a little worried. We had laptops and everything. Yeah. Right. So we were like, okay, let's hope this works out. And we met our tour guide, and he was Chinese. And we're like,
that probably threw you for a little loop.
And he was so obsessed with all the Mexican food and everything and the culture. And he had been eating he ate so many places in Tijuana that he could point out, like, yes, we're going to eat here. No, we never want to eat there. I ended up in the hospital from that point. So he had it all down to a science, but he went through the border with us, and we're like, okay, this is interesting. I have my daughters with us, and we're like, okay. And then we flagged down some public transportation, and we jump into this van, and it's people have got like chickens and all kinds of stuff, and we're like, where are we going? And they take us far out, in the street. We have no idea where we were. Then they dropped us off like in the middle of an intersection where cars were going different ways, and we're like, okay, this is interesting.
Very authentic.
Very authentic. And I'm like, our goal is here to survive. Okay. At this point, we're like, let's just survive.
Right.
And we get to a trailer, and this woman has marlin fish tacos and different other fish items. And she has the entire wall lined up of homemade, hot sauces. Like amazing. Like just, I've never seen so many hot sauces in my life. And so we got these marlin tacos, and they were so, so good. And after this food tour ended, we went to our hotel, and they had like the Food and Wine magazine that's across the U.S. Okay. And they said the top 50 restaurants in the world And we're like, my husband and I like, I wonder if we've ate at any of them. Like, we've ate at some nice places. So we start scrolling through. And sure enough, that trailer with the marlin tacos was considered one of the best in the world.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay,
We don't even have a restaurant, but we cook good food.
Right.
So yeah, not even really a restaurant. So, but yeah, we just walked our way through Tijuana and stopped at all these, homemade churros, ceviche, tacos. I mean, it was fabulous. So again, a way we saw Tijuana in a way that a lot of people don't see it. And it was a great experience. And it turns out Caesar salads came from Tijuana, Mexico.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a really interesting way to see Tijuana, actually, because, it's...
Wasn't the way I saw it.
It's not a way a lot of people see
I
it.
lost up in the
Cool. That's actually kind of cool. You go to Tijuana, you don't really know what's going on. But if you do the food tour, they can kind of, like she said, point out all the little hot spots and the not spots.
Yeah, they took us like this market, like the fish market in Seattle. Like they had a big market. Do I know how to get back to any of these? Never, no.
Right.
But it was the biggest market I've ever seen down there. And he took us through and we tried different things too. So it was definitely one of my favorite just because my expectations, I never exceeded all of them. So.
Okay.
Started off scary, ended up amazing.
Yeah, we survived with a churro. So.
I know you try. Nice. So, where we at? So I guess.
What else would you like to tell us?
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. How can people get in touch with you and set up a tour?
Phone number, website, any.
Yeah. So we have
what
a
other
website.
tours? So besides just Scottsdale, I know you said there's 5 places you get to, right?
So all the tours I run, I do downtown Phoenix, which is an excellent tour as well. A lot of history. So if you're a history person, I would recommend downtown Phoenix. And I've been doing that. Started in downtown Phoenix 14 years ago, so I've seen a lot change. We even owned an olive oil and balsamic business for a while down there.
Okay.
Just to bring our tours through. And then we've got downtown Gilbert, which is really growing. The food scene is unbelievable. And a lot of people aren't as exposed to Gilbert as other cities. So it's kind of cool to show them some of that area. And we've got a couple secret gems that we like to kind of showcase and just telling the story. A lot of people don't know this, but Gilbert happens to be the largest town in the U.S. So, and that's one of our fun facts.
Like volume, like land?
With population.
Population.
Yes. So they refuse to let the town, they don't want to become a city. They want to stick with the town. And
I see what you mean. The differentiations. I'm like, what are you, biggest town?
I should say the largest population town in the U.S. And, and when working with these restaurants, I really have to be honest with you. I feel like I'm in a small town. They all are looking out for each other and they all want to see each other succeed. And they really take it. I do feel like I'm working with a town when I'm down there.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah, to book my tickets, our website will be honestly the easiest way to do it. And that's tasteittours.com. And I know I said that fast. So tasteittours.com. And you go on there and you can see the experiences and different things we have to offer. And you can actually click on it and even walks you through which restaurants. So that way you can kind of know exactly what you're getting into. And we usually have tours in March. We're sold out a lot of these tours just because we have the spring training going on.
Right.
So, but the rest of the months you can usually get in within a week. Then we're not too sold out. We have wait lists too, so you can get on that wait list if it is sold out.
Okay. And like you do them through the week, and you can have. You said you did private, and then you also do public tours where one person or 4 people could.
Correct. So our public tours, if you have more than 8, if you have 8 or more people, then I would definitely recommend a private, and then we can kind of customize the time and date, and even if we're sold out, we'll take care of you. And even if you're 6, if you're willing to pay for that 8th people, just to make it worth us doing it, we can do that. But our restaurants are kind of sticklers as far as it's hard for us just to bring in 4 people. So they do want us bringing in, a certain amount of people and coming in there. Our group tours run up to 16 people. So averaging about 12 to 14, except for March, we're pretty much maxed out at 16 on every tour. So that's kind of group. And part of that tour, the fun of that tour is meeting other people. And you got to take that in. I know some people going I don't know if I want to do it with other people. honestly, you meet some really fun people. And we've seen people at the end of our tours exchange phone numbers, information. I've had groups that actually have come on tours like, we met 3 years ago on another tour in such as Savannah, and now they travel together.
Nice.
So your public tours, like anybody can just jump in that tour with a group of people.
Yes, absolutely.
That's cool. That's kind of like the Segway tour thing too. So yeah, you get to meet new people and have the experience of the food thing too. And you don't have to worry about having a large group to do it.
Yeah.
And you've never done a food tour yet?
No, not yet.
No. So
Oh, we got to get you on one.
I keep telling you to go on one with him. So we want to make a little video of some of the one and post it on the Instagram. So I'll probably do one here soon.
Oh, awesome. I think I know who could be your tour guide.
Yeah, I think I want to do the Old Town one though, because that's the Anagave stop.
Hey.
Although I've already been there, so maybe we'll
yeah.
try another one so we can come up with some new stops.
Yeah.
I'll find a new shop that I like.
Yeah, you got to try different ones. That's the one thing that, we tell our guests on our tours sometimes is we may bring out an item that something you, just like Craft 64, we do a pizza that everyone's like, I'm not so sure about that. Has fig jam, ricotta cheese, mozzarella, truffle oil. It's not one, I would normally order, but once they have it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. So we do like sometimes to try to get people out of their comfort zone a little bit and try different things because they are sometimes impressed.
I feel like that's the main reason to take a food tour is to try stuff that you wouldn't necessarily pick off the menu.
Right.
Yeah.
Or stuff that they don't put on it.
So yeah, I like that we mix the history and a little bit about what's going on too in the tour. So it's not just
all food the whole time.
Walk in and
And it's cool that you have the
barcodes.
cities like this that have the history in the background and the things that you can talk about. Scottsdale's a really neat place. It gives you a lot to talk about.
A lot, yes. And
If we have any restaurant owners out there that might be interested in getting you in on their food tours,
How do they contact you?
So they can contact me through the website,
Right.
and I'm Jessica at tasteittours.com. So you're welcome to email me. But I'm always looking for new restaurants. And again, we will sit down. I really want to see that passion and hear their story because our job is to share that story as we go along. And if it's a good works for both of us, our goal is to work with them. These people try their food, fall in love with it, and most of the time, these people are coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's their next trip or whether they live here. But even across 64, we have people try the pizza, and our next tour later that afternoon, we're running that tour, and we see people that were on our tour the day before either eating there or getting their pizza to go.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And you offer for the people that go on the tour, you get a foodie card at the end.
What's that?
Well, then you're officially a foodie. It's
okay.
It's
Your
quite
official
important.
recognition to being a part
Yes.
of the foodie club.
And it's a
Right.
business card, so you can carry it on you at all times. That way, if anyone questions your palate or anything like that, you're like, whoa, 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 I'm a foodie. I always say if you send your food back at a restaurant, you can flash that card. Like, see how that goes. But might get thrown out. But basically, just thanking them for coming on the tour, and if they return back to most of our restaurants or any of our places, just to let them know, show them your foodie card, let them know that you've been on a food tour, so they can thank you and do something special for you.
Oh, cool.
We're going to tell a little bit about what we're doing next, but I would like you to say again one more time how to get a hold. Do you think?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to mention that Devin this morning over at Acebo was actually interested in possibly talking to you. So we kind of made another connection for you already.
And we talked to Eric yesterday at the.
Yeah, Eric over at, that was
We'll talk about that.
Mon Chéri.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there are people interested in checking you out as well. So
Nice.
well seasoned and.
Yeah, well seasoned the Southern comfort food in the evening. So.
Okay.
So anyway, so thank you. And again, why don't you give us how to get a hold of you and.
So again, it's tasteittours.com, and you can just go on that website and book your tickets. And I'd love to have you guys on one of my food tours. We actually have an evening tour too that we just launched in the more of the waterfront district. So if you're looking for something in the evening to do, even we one that runs at 5:30 now.
Okay.